Hey Cosmo students, today we're going to be going over chapter 19, wigs and hair extensions in your Milady book. Our objective today, we're going to understand why cosmetologists should study wigs and hair additions, the differences between human hair and synthetic hair, and the two basic categories of wigs. We'll also be learning about the various types of hair pieces and their uses and different methods of attaching the hair extensions. When you're working with hair additions, it can either be a simple retail effort or a highly specialized field. With hair additions, they range from clip-on hair pieces that salons retail, such as ponytails, chignons, bangs, and even extensions, to elaborately applied extensions in which addition strands are attached individually. The income that hair extension services represents ranges from a small amount for a clip-on ponytail or bang to thousands of dollars for human hair extensions that are fusion bonded strand by strand to the client's hair. Additionally, hair loss clients and medical clients, such as cancer patients, have very particular needs for hair additions, which you can learn if you choose to specialize. That's a good field to specialize in because a lot of people need it, and not a lot of stylists offer that specialty in their salon. When it comes to the differences between human hair and synthetic hair, you have some advantages and you have some disadvantages of human hair and you have in synthetic hair. The advantages of human hair: it appears more realistic, it has greater durability, the same styling maintenance and that you would use for your human hair, you would do it for the same thing for human hair extensions. It can be custom colored and permed or relaxed. It tolerates heat from a blow dryer, a curling iron, a flat iron, or hot rollers. And some disadvantages of human hair: you have climate reactions. So if it's humid outside or if it's raining outside, the human hair will either puff up, revert to a curly or wavy state if the hair was curly or wavy, based off what the weather's like outside. It's required resetting after shampooing, oxidizing the color, breaking and splitting hair. It will break and split if it's mistreated by brushing it too hard or backcombing it or using too much heat. Some advantages of synthetic hair: it's strong and durable, it has great value, it has already a preset style and texture so you don't have to style it. It's trendy and fashionable because they can come in different colors and different styles. The unlimited color selection. There's no fading or oxidizing with sun exposure. Some disadvantages of synthetic hair: it has a low tolerance to extreme heat. You cannot use high heat on synthetic hair. You always want to use a lower setting of heat if the manufacturer instruction allows you to. Traditional hair color is not recommended. It has an unnatural shine and thickness to it, and the correlation between price and quality is a huge disadvantage when it comes to that for synthetic hair. The quality and cost of human hair. You have the top of the line, which is the European hair, which is the virgin hair, and it's the most cost the most. It's color treated virgin hair, and you can also color it and do whatever you want to it, just like you would do for your natural hair, and it costs the most. The second is Indian and Asian hair. These two provide the most human hair to beauty supply stores, to people who order online. It's mostly coming from India or Asia, and they're the next in cost. In hair that's coming from India and Asia, it's usually available in lengths from 12 to 16 inches. In Asian hair is usually available in lengths from 12 inches to 28 inches. And with Indian hair, it's usually wavy, and Asian hair is usually straight. The third is a mixture of human hair and animal hair. That is the next one that in cost. The animal hair typically comes from horses, yak, or sheep, and it's taken from the animal's belly, and it's the purest of whites. The color, it naturally lends itself to adding fantasy colors. So with this kind of hair, you can color it pink, purple, yellow, green, blue. You can color it whatever color because of the white. And it's also used in like theaters or the fashion world. Then you have your fourth in cost is human hair mixed with synthetic hair. The mix is often half human and half synthetic, and these wigs or hair pieces, they blend, and there are some disadvantages and there's some advantage of both of them, and it can be a good option if you choose a good color and texture for your client. So when you're choosing I apologize. So when you're choosing a wig for your client, you want to ask a few questions. There's some certain questions you want to ask when you're choosing a wig to make sure you're getting the right one that fits your client's lifestyle, fits your client's head, fits your client's desire of what they want it to look like. You want to ask, what is it made of? Is it natural or artificially colored? What is the grade of strength, elasticity, and porosity? Is the cuticle intact? Is it fallen hair? And fallen hair is the opposite of remy hair. It's hair that has been shed from the head and gathered from a hairbrush, as opposed to the hair being cut. Fallen hair is not turned. Turned hair, also known as remy hair, is hair in which the root end of every single strand is sewn into the base so that the cuticles of the hair strands move in the same direction, down. The hair, when you have turned hair, it is in better condition and it is much easier to work with because it doesn't tangle as easily. You want to ask, is it tangle free? What is the condition? Does color match the client's hair? Can it be permed or relaxed? And will it last 4 to 6 months? So those are just some basic questions you want to ask when you're thinking about getting a wig or your client is thinking about getting a wig. A wig is an artificial covering for the head consisting of a network of interwoven hair. If a hair addition does not fully cover the head, it is either a hair piece or a hair attachment of some sort. You have a couple different types of wigs. You have a cap, which is often hand knotted and are constructed with an elasticized mesh fiber base to which the hair is attached. And they're also made in several sizes and require special fittings. More often than not, cap wigs are hand knotted. Then you have a capless wig. It's machine made, light and comfortable, and it will allow the scalp to breathe, and is also ready for immediate wear. And with capless wigs, the hair is woven into wefts, and wefts are long strips of hair with a threaded edge. Rows of wefts are sewn to elastic strips in a circular pattern to fit the head shape. Capless wigs are more popular than cap wigs, and they are ready to wear and less expensive. A lot of people will buy a capless wig opposed to a cap wig based off cost and the fact that they can take it out of the package and just put it on their head and keep it moving. You have a few different methods of constructing a wig. You have hand-tied wigs, semi-hand-tied wigs. You have machine-made wigs. Hand-tied wigs, also known as hand-knotted wigs, they are made by inserting individual strands of hair into mesh foundations and knotting them with a needle. Hand tying is particularly done around the front hairline at the top of the head, and these wigs have a more natural, realistic look to them, and they're also very good for when you want to style the hair. Semi hand tie wigs, they are constructed with a combination of synthetic hair and hand tied human hair. It is reasonably priced, and they offer a natural appearance, and they're good, and they're very durable. Machine made wigs, these are the least expensive. They are made by feeding wefts through a sewing machine, then stitching them together to form the base and shape of the wig. Another good characteristic of these wigs is their bounce back quality. Even after you shampoo the wig, the style returns, and they have a disadvantage of the wefting direction, which resists styling options. So that's just an advantage and disadvantage of machine made wigs. When you're taking measurements for wigs, you want to measure the client's head. You want to use a soft tape measure, keeping it close to the head without pressure. You always want to keep a written record of the client's head measurements and forward a copy to the wig dealer or manufacturer. You want to see if they're ready to wear wigs, and you want to make sure the sizing is correct. When you're measuring the head, you want to take the head circumference. The measurement is the distance around the head. Most wigs circumferences can be adjusted up to 1 to 1.5 inches. Then you want to take the front to nape. This measurement is the length of the head from the front to the nape of the neck. Then you want to take measurements from ear to ear. And this measurement is the head from the top of one ear over the crown to the top of the other ear. A wig block. A wig block is a head-shaped form. It's usually made of canvas-colored cork or styrofoam. It's used for fitting, coloring, or sometimes styling. This is your wig block right here. It has 6 sizes ranging from 20 to 22 inches. And it has a swivel clamp, which is used to hold the block, allowing for greater control when you're styling the wig. Oh, why did it do that? I am so sorry. You want to make sure the wig is secure on the hair. And you want to make sure that the hair under the wig cap is flat, so that when you're putting on the wig, there's no lumps and it's able to fit properly on the client's head. If it doesn't fit properly, you can shorten the wig from front to nape with the horizontal tuck. You can sew the back of the wig horizontally to tuck it and form the back of the head, and you can also shorten the wig with the vertical tuck. You want to keep in mind that when you're sewing the wig to create a customized fit, it is a highly specialized art. So you want to make sure that you're doing it properly and you know what you're doing so that you don't mess up the wig and damage the quality of the wig. When you're cutting a wig, the objective is to make the hair look more realistic. You want to taper the ends to make shape look less solid. So you don't want it to look blunt. You want it to look like human hair. And with cutting a wig, just like human hair, it has different lengths. So when you're cutting it, if you're going to cut it into one length, then make sure you kind of taper the ends out to make sure it doesn't look too fake, too wiggy on the client, so they can appreciate the cut. When you are cutting, you can also do it in horizontal sections. You can also cut a wig in diagonal sections or vertical sections. You can also use shears and a razor to cut wigs. I typically, on my client, depending on how much texture they want, I would use a razor on the hair, or I'll take some scissors and I'll point cut. We'll get more into that in chapter 16 when we talk about hair cutting. but I'll point cut, deep point cut, texturize the ends to make it look real, give them some layers to make it look like it's actually coming from their head. When you're styling the wig, you want to treat the hair gently. You also want to use low heat. A lot of these wigs, even though they're human hair, you still don't want to put the heat on 400, 410, because it still is a wig. You want to take care of it, use low heat, keep in mind of what brush you're going to use, and use a block when you're placing the client on the wig, so that you can keep it intact. If you're going to take it off, you can put it on the block so it's not getting tangled, it's not getting matted, it's not on the floor, it's just not just thrown somewhere after a long day and it's hot underneath that wig and you're going to pull it off and toss it to the floor. Just pull it off, place it on your block. That way it's still in good condition, where you can just wake up in the next day and put it back on your head. When you're styling a wig around the hairline, use styling products. You can also back comb the hairline to make it blend a little bit more. You can also take out the client's natural hairline around the wig and blend and cut the wig to their hair so that it blends. And you can also do the wind test. Take your blow dryer and mimic like it's the wind, so you can see how the hair is going to blow. How the hair is going to move, so you can see if you can see that wig line around their hairline. And if you can, just adjust the cut or adjust some back combing, put some more back combing, or do a couple more cuts here and there to blend it a little bit better, to make it look more realistic. When you're cleaning the wig, you always want to make sure to read the manufacturer's instructions. They're going to tell you how to treat the wig, how to shampoo the wig, what shampoos to use, how high you can have heat, and how to condition the wig. When you are using shampoo for wigs, you want to use a gentle shampoo. When you're going to blow dry the wig, use the blow dryer on a low setting if you can, or let it air dry as much as possible, so that you're not putting as much heat on the hair. And then you also want to condition a wig, especially if it's human hair. You still want to condition it to put that moisture back in it, to nourish it, to keep it healthy and as conditioned as possible, so that it can last you for as long as possible, so you get your money's worth. It's nothing like spending $500 on a human hair wig and you're not taking care of it, and the ends are matty and dry and the wig is ruined, or you got to do so much reconstruction to it that you've lost a good amount of hair, so it's not as full, not the same. So it just pays to just take care of the wig. When you're coloring wigs and hair additions, they range from colors from black to blonde. Level 1 is black. It is the hardest to lift from. White yak hair is the easiest to deposit and use for fantasy colors like pink, purple, yellow, green, blue, orange, all those kinds of colors. And you also want to check the cuticle of the wig or the hair addition. When you're going to color a wig, the first thing you want to check, you want to make sure the cuticle is intact. Hair in which the cuticle is absent is very porous and it won't react to the color in the way that you want it to. And so you always want to do a strand test even on a wig. Just like if you were to do a client with their natural hair and you would do a strand test before you color their hair, you would do the same thing for the wig to make sure the wig and the color will react the way you want it to and doesn't damage the wig. More times than not, you're going to want to use semi-permanent color or demi-permanent color, glazes, rinses, or a color mousse to use to color wigs. You can use permanent hair color on human hair wigs unless the hair is porous. And then if it is, then you want to go back to using semi-permanent color. That's a better choice and it's safer for that wig. Perming wigs can only be done on human hair. Do not do it on synthetic hair. Especially do not perm hair that has been subjected to metallic dye. You also want to perm the wig off of the head. So you put it on the wig block, and you want to cover the block with some form, cover it with plastic. You want to pin the wig to the head form, to the block, and perm as if you were perming a normal client's head that doesn't have a wig. So if you were perming a client with their own natural hair, you would do the same thing, follow the same steps, follow the same process as if you were to do it on a human. So there are two different hair pieces. You have the integration hair piece and you have a toupee. The integration hair piece has openings in the base through which the client's own hair is pulled to blend with the natural synthetic hair of the hair piece. Your toupee is a small wig used to cover the top and crown of the head. A lot of men use toupees and they're coming back so strong right now. So many, I can't tell you how many men I have seen with hair weaves or toupees that look so real. It's not even funny. It's hilarious how men used to say women should wear their natural hair and da-da-da-da, but nowadays you can probably be on a date with a man and he has a whole wig on top of his head, but you will never know. He probably will never tell you. It's hilarious. You have a fashion hairpiece. It includes ponytails, chignons, cascades, streaks, bangs, falls, half wigs, and clip-in hair extensions. Your fashion hair pieces. You have the wraparound ponytail, the cascade of curls, which is attached with the comb. You have a hair wrap, and the hair wraps. Your wraparound ponytail is a ponytail. It's long, and it's able to be wrapped around the client's ponytail, their own hair, and it covers about 10 and 20% of the head. You can sometimes use them as for chignons or just to use it as a regular ponytail. Your cascading curls is attached with combs. This hair extension, fall, or attachment allows the client to have longer, fuller cascading curls covering the entire top and back of the head. So her hair was shorter, not as full, and then they put the cascade of curls attachment to her head and it became a lot fuller and she got a little bit more curls. You have your hair wrap. Your hair wrap is mounted on the elastic loop and it is further secured to the client's own hair with the hairpins. So her hair was shorter, they kind of pinned it up and they put the hair wrap on her hair. It's simple way to add a little addition to hair to a ponytail. In the world of hair extensions, you want to secure the base of the client's natural hair in order to add length, volume, texture, or color. Extensions can be human hair, synthetic hair, or a blend of the two, and they are either wefts of hair or strands. And unless they are clip-in extensions, they are applied with semi-permanent attachment methods, and we'll go over those in a couple slides. Some general guidelines that you want to follow when it comes to extensions. You want to determine the length and the thickness needed. You want to determine the desired look and you want to map it. You want to stay 1 inch away from the hairline and you want to ensure the base does not show. You also want to match the curl pattern of the client's hair to the extensions that you're applying to the client. You will need fewer extensions when you're doing it to a client with curly hair. The professional approach when you're doing hair extensions. You want to make sure there's safety for the client's hair. You want to make sure when applying these extensions to the client is safe for the client's hair. It's not going to damage their hair. Comfort. There should be no pulling or pinching. You want to avoid excess tension on the natural hair to avoid damaging the client's hair. You also want to make sure it's secure. Check the security. You want to make certain the additions will not fall off. If they are attached with a semi-permanent method, such as braid and sew, bonding, or fusion bonding, with bonding or fusion bonding, you want to be certain that they will last several weeks before they are removed or required readjustments to accommodate the natural hair's growth. And also, you want to make sure it's styled and it's fashionable. You have some braid and sewing methods. Hair extensions are secured to the client's own hair by sewing braids or a weft onto an on-the-scalp braid or cornrow. So this is a cornrow, and you would attach the wefts to the braid. The wefts can also be attached by creating a track using fiber filler. The angle of the track will determine how the hair will fall on the client's head. The braid and sew method can also be used to attach hair pieces. With the braid and sew methods, you have lock stitch, overcast stitch, and double lock stitch, which we'll also go over in just a few seconds. And with the braid and sew attachments, you have different partings, side sections, hidden ends of the braids. You want to position the tracks 1 inch behind the hairline, and you have blunt custom designed needles. With your overcast stitch, you want to pass the needle under the track and the weft. And just a little definition of what an overcast stitch is. It's a simple, quick stitch that can be used to secure the entire length of the weft to the track. And with the lock stitch, it's a sewing technique used with a curved needle and thread to sew on a weft of the hair to a braided cornrow track. And the stitch can also be used over the entire length of the track and evenly spaced stitches. And you want to bring the needle back over to make a new stitch. You want to repeat the stitch along the track to the end. And once you've done all that, you want to complete with the lock stitch. And then we have our double lock stitch. Our double lock stitch is much like the lock stitch, but the thread is wound around the needle twice to create a double lock. It is used in the same way as the lock stitch. Some advantages of the braid and sew: it's very safe and it doesn't require no special equipment when you're doing this method. Some disadvantages of the braid and sew: it can have too much tension on the braid, which can cause the client's hair to be damaged, and it's not appropriate for everyone. So maybe for somebody whose hair is very, very thin, you don't really want to do this because it can be too heavy and it can be too much tension on the client's hair, so it wouldn't be appropriate for them. Or someone who has extremely damaged hair, that it wouldn't be appropriate for them as well. And let me see, what's another disadvantage of it? Someone who doesn't keep their hair clean, this wouldn't be appropriate because it's gonna get more dirty, which can cause the scalp to cause a disease, or it can cause the scalp to be extremely dry. All those above, all the above. Then you have the bonding method. The bonding method of attaching hair extensions, hair wefts, or single strands are attached with an adhesive or a bonding agent. The natural hair should be 4 inches long, and it can last from 2 to 4 weeks. Some advantages to bonding: it can be affordable, and the service does not take long than an average haircut appointment. It's also timely and can be gently shampooed as long as You're doing it gently, that's okay. If you do too rough, you can mess it up. Some disadvantages to bonding. Some clients may have allergic reaction to the ingredients in the adhesive, which will cause them to not be able to get the service. So you want to do a test with the certain adhesive that you're going to use on the client's skin to make sure that they're not allergic to it. It's also not appropriate for clients who have severely damaged hair or those who don't have enough hair to hide the webs. And it should not be used to attach webs that are longer than 12 inches. You also want to avoid excessive heaviness and the possibility of pulling on the client's natural hair and scalp. We have fusion bonding. Fusion bonding is a method of attaching extensions. Individual extensions hair is bonded to the client's own hair with a bonding material that is activated by the heat from a special tool. Doing this method is expensive and it is time consuming, but it does harmonize with the client's natural hair with no uncomfortable or unattractive attachment sites. Some advantages of fusion bonding: the client's hair will dry more quickly, and by using extensions and slightly different colors, you can create the illusion of depth and dimension or a highlighted effect. And this method also allows for styling versatility. So the client's able to get it blown out, get curled, get put into an updo, put it in a braid. You have more styling options when you're doing fusion bonding. And some disadvantages to fusion bonding: it is very time consuming. It takes a long time. And with the pre-tipped extensions, they are expensive. And some suppliers will take them back, will take back the hair extensions and re-tip it, which saves you and reduces waste. Then we have linking. Linking is a hook that is used to pick up a small amount of hair off a parting. A link is slid on close to the scalp with a special tool, and then an extension or a special addition strand is inserted into the hair length. When you want to use the linking method, the natural hair should be at least 5 inches long. Some advantages to linking: linking offers style versatility just like how fusion bonding does. And the integrity of the natural hair can be maintained if the procedure is done properly, but if it's not done properly, then it will not be maintained. And some disadvantages: the method is expensive and also time consuming, just like fusion bonding is. And also the metal links can rust, it can oxidize. Tube shrinking. The client's hair and the addition strand are inserted into a tube, which is then heated to shrink it. This method requires special tools and special training. And the stylist must follow a logical placement pattern carefully and pay attention to the natural growth patterns and provide a complete home care instructions for the client. And the client, make sure your client follow those home care instructions to make sure that they are taking care of their hair, because they are spending a lot of money on their hair. But the client must return to the salon regularly for the maintenance for tube shrinking. Retailing hair products. When you're retailing hair products, you want to identify the client's needs. You want to explain the value of the investment and the investment that they are putting in, and you want to describe the features and benefits of this service. You want to discuss the performance and the cost. You want to choose high quality hair pieces. You want to believe in recommendations and price them appropriately. If you want to be the best out there when it comes to hair extensions, you want to work with the best and have the best quality of hair. You don't want to get cheap hair because it's not going to last long. The clients are going to hate it. It's going to cause a bad word of mouth for that particular service. So just work with good hair, good quality products. You want to have good customer service, and you want to also educate the client as well. When I say practice makes perfect, it's practice makes perfect. To be highly skilled at this, you have to work. You have to take classes. You have to get some extra training. You can't just learn how to do it once and then just be done. You have to constantly keep training yourself and constantly practice to get better and evolve and get faster or find different ways to go about doing it so that you're able to stay on top of it and stay in the game. And the more you do it, the better you'll become. So that will be it for chapter 19 with and hair additions. So we're gonna go over a summary really quick. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me any questions. But for the little quick summary about what we talked about today on chapter 19, there will always be a practical need for the ability to style wigs since they are used to camouflage hair loss, even when it is not the fashion trend to wear them. Hair pieces, wigs, extensions, and weaves will always be used in some manner to help cover irreplaceable hair loss. As a cosmetologist, it will be necessary for you to master the techniques of fitting, cutting, styling, and possibly coloring wigs, all with the interests and comfort of the client foremost in your mind. You don't have to learn how to do extensions or wigs. I personally, in my salon, I don't do weaves. I do tape and extensions. So you're able to pick and choose what you want to do, but it's also good to still know how to do them. So it doesn't hurt to learn to go to classes here and there. I still go to classes even though I don't offer weaving services, but it doesn't hurt. Always stay willing to educate yourself. Always stay getting training, and always stay knowledgeable to be able to better educate your client so they can take care of them if you do plan on offering um, a hair extension services when you go to your salon, when you go to working for yourself in your own salon or working under another person's salon. And so for our activity today, we're gonna have some fun with the braid and sew method. You're gonna cornrow your mannequin with as many braids as you like, but a minimum is 3. You're gonna thread your needle and decide what method you wanna use. You're gonna use a lock stitch, the overcast stitch, or a double lock stitch. You can try all 3 if you like, but we'll take about 35 minutes to practice the sewing method. And if you need more time, I'll add more time. We'll probably need more time, and that's okay. We just want to get it down to see how you do and just get you a little bit comfortable with it, just to get your hands moving in the motions and get the methods down. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me, and let's have fun. All right, y'all. Have a good day.